talk about the new nozzles that we are starting to get on the line. These nozzles are from Elkhart Brass. This is a fixed gallonage nozzle, so it is set for 50 psi tip pressure, which is down from the 100 tip pressure that we have on all of our other nozzles. The nice thing is with that lower tip pressure, we get lower nozzle reaction, so it's a little bit easier for the end user, the nozzle firefighter. The pressure pushing back against him won't be so much that it'll push him off balance or anything like that. Also, the CFD has gone to 150 GPM minimum for their hand lines, the 1 3/4 attack line. This is 150 at 50 fog, and it's backed up by a 7/8 smooth bore that's 160 or 165 at 50. And so basically what we have is parity between the fog and the smooth bore. And so what that means to the end user or the engineer or whoever's using this line is that whether we're using the fog or the smooth bore, we pump it at 165 as far as our GPM, and that way we don't have to adjust the pump discharge pressure when we switch between the two. If guys like the fog, they can use the fog. If guys like the smooth bore, they can use the smooth bore. The thing is if you're using the fog on our old nozzles, and I don't have an example in front of me, but if you're using the old nozzles, if the line jams up, there's the only way to really get rid of that jam is to go all the way to flush and hope that it clears whatever debris is in the line. If it doesn't clear any of the debris that's in the line affecting your flow in the fire room, that line now is compromised, and either it's a severe enough blockage that the line basically gets abandoned and we have to go get a new line, or we don't have the GPMs to battle the BTUs, and then we have to make a tactical retreat. So this nozzle is designed so that if the fog jams up, we can simply unscrew the fog, set it down, open up, and we have the smooth bore backing it up, and we can continue the firefight. And now the line is no longer just a dead line in the fire building, so we can continue the fire attack. Again, it's as simple as just unscrewing it or screwing it back on. If you get a chance to look at these nozzles in depth, there's not a whole lot of internal components to the nozzle. It's a fixed gallonage, so basically it's governed by the size of the disc at the tip of it. This allows us to inspect the nozzle. So whenever we come on duty and it's truck day, if we take a look at the nozzles, they're dirty, they just got back from a fire or something like that and they didn't get a chance to clean them, we can unscrew it, look inside, make sure that everything's good. We can clean it out with warm soap and water and clean all the components and pieces and make sure that everything's up and running. Same thing with the smooth bore portion of it. There's nothing to it other than a complete ball valve on the inside and then a smooth tunnel. The nice thing with Elkhart and this nozzle is everything's field serviceable, so we can repair these in-house with minimal tools, and we can replace each part and piece. With some of our older nozzles, there's so many mechanical pieces on the inside and springs and stuff like that, you actually have to send it back to the shop to get them repaired. These ones we can repair right here in-house. So that's the Elkhart Chief XD nozzle. The other thing too that I want to talk about real quick is the pistol grip. Some guys like the pistol grip. We're going to go over kind of how to hold the hose line. The pistol grip is a good feature, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of guys that still swear by it, and that's fine. If the pistol grip is getting in the way of our hose loads or how we are operating the hose line, this can be removed and it doesn't affect the rest of the nozzle. So these are completely removable, replaceable, and the like. So that's the exit. So now we're going to talk about body position with the hose line, and we got Engineer Brumman here on the line, and we're just going to go through 3 positions. What we want people to do is try these 3 positions, find one that works for them, that feels comfortable, and then practice on the body positioning for it. If I see anything that Brumman's like body position is out of place, I'm going to coach him through it and just kind of show him the correct body position, and then we're going to work through it from there. So we'll start now. So right now, got Brumman, he's in what's called the high knee. And basically the high knee is whatever line or side the hose is coming up over, that leg is up. All right, this is probably one of the most comfortable positions for the firefighter on the end of the nozzle. The nice thing is too, is that when he goes to open the line and the nozzle reaction's pushing against him, his arm is gonna be in front of his leg, and that's gonna push all the force into his leg, and his leg pinned against the ground is gonna take a lot of that nozzle reaction so that he can manipulate the hose all sorts of different directions, and all that force is being taken up by the long bones in his legs, and it's not him over muscling anything. So we want to open it up. When we go to open it up, once we let go of the bail, we want to make sure that we're coupling the hose right behind the actual coupling itself. All right. With the lower pressure nozzle that we have, the hose is going to want to bend more than what we're used to. And so what we want to do is cradle it much like we're cradling a baby or picking up a baby, and everything is from below. If Brumman puts his hand on top, go ahead and put your hand on top, and tries to manipulate the hose line, we have a greater chance that this thing's going to start to kink if he starts to move it more to the 90-degree area. You'll notice as he sits here, he's very stable. He has the ability to flow this line. We can go straight up if you want. Straight up. We can go off to the side pretty far, right? And if we didn't have a cameraman here, he can come this way as well. All the while, his body stays nice and grounded, and he's not getting pushed over by the nozzle reaction. Cool, all right. The next position is one that we learned from nozzle forward, and that's going to be what's called the hip grip. This knee is now going to go down, and the other knee is going to go up. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to use the hose friction behind him, as well as him pushing his hand into his hip and pushing the hose into his hip to take up that nozzle reaction and still allow him to manipulate the hose line like you saw in the first example. The thing is you're gonna have to figure out, hold on before you open it. You're gonna have to figure out by feel what feels good as far as how much hose is in front of you or what's behind you. A good rule of thumb is to get into position, and if you can touch the tip of the nozzle, you probably have a sufficient amount of hose in front of you. Some people like it a little bit longer, other people are gonna have it a little bit shorter. It becomes a user preference and what feels comfortable at that point. Go ahead. So from this position, if you just sink back just a little bit, sink back a little, right? What we wanna do in this position is actually be sitting back just a little bit and allow those forces to push the hose into the ground. And then whatever force is left is taken up by our hand pushing it into his hip, okay? Again, he can manipulate the line any direction he wants, up high, to the left, if we didn't have the cameraman to the right. And you'll notice his body doesn't move, and the forces aren't pushing him off balance. It's a very stable setup, okay? The next position is what's called the clamp. Basically, the line was going to go underneath his knee, and his body weight is going to pin the line to the ground, whether it's his knee, his shin, or around his ankle. It's going to pin the line to the ground and take up all of those forces. This one is by far the easiest for any size line. The thing is that from this position, if you have to move into the hip grip to flow and move, it's an extra couple of moves. But this position right here is great for a hit and move on an interior structure fire. Notice how he's coupling the hose. With the lower pressure nozzle, that hose is going to feel a lot more noodly compared to what we're used to. So we want to just make sure that we have a good grip underneath. We're not creating any bends that are unnecessary, and we can freely move this. This is a great one for like a defensive fire where you have to sit on this line for a while. You can pretty much sit here all day, just in this position. Alright, so now that we've covered over how to hold the hand line in a static position, we're going to go over how to move with the hand line after you float a little bit of water and now you need to progress to the fire compartment room or move deeper into the structure. So this would be in like a hit and move kind of pattern where we've hit the fire, we shut down, and now we're going to start to move. So we're going to start, Engineer Brumman's in the high knee position, all right? He's going to open up the line and start to flow water. We've pushed the products of combustion back, now we're shutting down the line and we go to move. When he shuts down the line in this position, the nozzle reaction that's pushing against him is going to release and he's going to fall forward. His left hand will come down, his right hand will still have the nozzle, and then he's just going to turn his body 90 degrees. That creates a bite of hose around his hip. All right, that provides the friction to pull the hose. And then he's going to just start to crab walk forward, planting off his left hand and his right leg. This body position, once you turn sideways 90 degrees, also sets you up to use your front foot to feel conditions in front of you. You can sound the floor, or as you're moving along, if your foot drops down, you know there's either a hole or stairs, and you're better set up to know that there's something in front of you. Traditionally, a lot of guys will try to drag the hose forward like this, pinching it between their arm. It puts all their weight forward. If there's a hole or stairs, once they find them with this hand sinking into space, all their body weight's going to pull them down into that hole or down the stairs. From this position, you'll notice all my weight's back from the foot that's out in front of me. And if I find a hole or the stairs, all my weight's still back here, and I can either evaluate, yep, those are stairs, or maybe that's a hole and I don't want to go any further. If the floor starts to give way, I can simply push myself back. All right, it keeps my body weight back. It also allows my head space that I can actually look up and see the conditions up above me. I can look out in front of me to see conditions out in front. And from this position, I can also look back and communicate with whoever's shagging me hose behind. So, ready? And you'll notice he's pulling this all by himself. Nobody's really shagging him hose. And he's able to simply stop. He can go right back into the firefight. Simply turn him back, and he's back into the fight. Simple way to move hose. All right, so right now Engineer Brumman's in the hip grip position. Okay, he's got the hose is going to be pinched in where his hip is. His foot's going to be out, and he'll be actively fighting the fire. Now, when he shuts down and goes to move, this one adds an extra step in the fact that when he shuts down, he's going to have to put the line underneath his knee, and then as he goes forward, his left hand is going to pull the nozzle to his chest. His right hand's going to go out, and now as he comes through, he's basically just going to be pulling the hose with his knee, and you'll see that here in a second. Shuts down. Now he's going to have to push this down his knee and underneath, and then now this hand's going to go out, and he's basically going to slide the hose forward. Now when he wants to go back in the fight, if he wants to get back into the hip grip, he'll simply reverse the steps, come up over his knee, and then back into the fight. So now from here, we can go into the clamp, but he basically showed you the clamp just a bit ago. It's the same body position if you want to get into it. So from here, he's flowing water. When he goes to move, it's going to be the same thing. He's going to shut down. He's going to plant his right hand, and then he's just going to use the bite around his shin to slide the hose forward underneath him. And that's how we move in a hit and move style. body of fire from the exterior, and now we need to drag it up to the door, or we just need to drag hose in general. A lot of guys will grab the pistol grip, which is fine. It's a good way to grab and drag the line. If the pistol grip's broken for whatever reason, or we decided that we don't like the pistol grip and it's off the nozzle, we can simply grab it by the bail and drag it with just the bail itself. This bail is made out of metal. It's designed to be pulled that way. They've done extensive testing to make sure that they can drag a fully charged line by the bail itself. So you want to simply grab the bail and drag it. Perfect. And then get back into the fire. Alright, so now we're going to show you the feature of the breakaway fog. What we've done is we've put just a regular EMS glove in the line. Alright, we're going to bleed the line until it jams up the fog, and then we'll show you how to spin off the fog and continue the firefight. Cool, so if that's the case, now we still have a fully functioning line. We can continue the firefight, put out the fire. Then when we get back to the station, we can figure out what kind of debris is in there and how hard it's going to be to clear out.